Hi, I'm Jade Havenar. I've been a teacher for the past 3 years, but I am pursuing my master's in literacy education through Arizona State. Um, and the teacher that inspired me is Mark Hiskis from Holland Christian High School. He was my English teacher over my senior year. Something you should also know about me is that I've always been a little bit shy, especially in large crowds, and for that reason I was never the girl to quickly raise my hand in class or draw a lot of unnecessary attention to myself. However, I've always loved language arts and reading and writing and poetry and everything that goes along with that. So when I had the opportunity to have Mr. Hiskis in high school, I was obviously ecstatic because he's a little bit of a legend at our high school, I'd like to call it. Um, he just had a way of bringing literature to life that was unlike any other teacher I ever had. He became so enthralled with the characters and plot and even the rhythmic word patterns that as a student you became equally entranced. He would act out scenes from Hamlet for us, all a one-man show, and he would encourage us to read aloud and pace around the room while reading Godric's Gospel in order to really feel the language. All techniques that maybe were a little bit goofy, but helped us to feel like it was a safe space, like it was a space to express yourself and to be a little different and be a little crazy. Beyond that, Mr. Hiskis also conducted his classroom like no other teacher I'd had before. He gave us agency and voice. Occasionally, he would completely flip the script, where instead of being at the front of the room as the teacher, he would have one of us be the leader of the discussion, and he might pose a question or two, but otherwise it was up to us to discuss the reading as a class, and our only requirement was to participate. Mr. Hiskis made his classroom feel like a safe space to share ideas, to wrestle with texts, and he delighted in our interpretations of poetry. I remember one time we were reading a poem and I raised my hand to share my understanding of it, and he was so excited. He was like, "Yes, Jade, that's it. That's amazing. Did anyone else see that?" And we would talk about it, and just his enthusiasm for our desire to learn and our desire to share what we're thinking was incredible. He also conferenced it with us at length over our essays to make us feel like we mattered, like we had voices as writers. Additionally, Mr. Hiskis created a calm environment in his classroom by giving us time to breathe. Once a week, he would light a candle in the middle of the room and play a song, dim the lights, and we would all sit quietly and just watch the flame or maybe close our eyes and really just breathe and be quiet for a minute every Wednesday of the week. And I don't think that many high schoolers really have the chance to be quiet and sit with their thoughts very often in their lives. And that was a really, really healthy thing for all of us to do, to kind of just center ourselves in the middle of the week. It's something that I've already carried into my classroom in the past 3 years. When I feel like my kiddos are overwhelmed with life and things are weighing heavy, we will all sit or lay on the ground. I'll play a song, the lights will be dim, and we just exist together for a couple of moments. And without fail, every time they come back more centered, ready to learn, because sometimes we just need a minute to breathe. I'll never forget how Mr. Hiskis came alongside of me and specifically encouraged me to become a teacher. It was the second semester and I was just warming up to the idea of pursuing an education degree in college. He believed in my writing, although he also had lots of critiques and ideas for me. He even gave me this Elements of Style book at the end of the year. It has his name in it, and I've written mine in it as well, so that hopefully one day I can pass this on to one of my students who I think has a bright future of being a teacher one day, and maybe just needs some work on their grammar. But Mr. Hiskis, he believed in me. He believed not only in my writing, but my ability to teach any grade I wanted. He said, "You're capable of doing it. I know that you can, and I want you to try." He had a way of doing that, of believing in people so much that they wanted to believe in themselves too. Mr. Hiskus took a shy little girl and made her a literary force, brimming with possibility and a wild imagination. And in doing so, he instilled in me the desire to create those same spaces of security and belonging and creativity for my students. I've decided to pursue my master's in literacy education through Arizona State because too many kids these days have become disenchanted with reading and uninspired by writing. In a world as fast-paced and techy as our own, it's increasingly challenging to get kids to really wrestle with something difficult or sit with something and mull over it for a long time. Many students also struggle with various reading disabilities and have trouble getting ideas from their brain to their paper. I want to be able to enter into those spaces with students to make sure that every student feels like they belong and that every student has a voice, no matter how shy they might be. And that's a little bit about me. Thanks for listening to my story.